helps to see every child on the pages represented. Throughout my life, I faced challenges, but I learned about advocacy and art. I can change and my purpose to creativity and to change. This passion truly ignited when I was 22 years old. I spent my whole entire life navigating braces, doctor's visits, and a body that didn't cooperate. But I didn't see that as a limit. I tried to do bigger and harder, and I smiled big, and I truly become and believed that I was gonna overcome anything if I get determined. Well, everything changed when I was 22. In 2016, I had a stroke in Tampa. At the time, I was living my dream, studying psychology at my dream school in Tampa, and I had a scholarship. I was independent living, and I was surrounded with all my friends. Life actually felt like it was aligning. Even if I had rare muscular dystrophy. But suddenly, I woke up with my own body, and I couldn't move or speak or change what I wanted to do. It's like being trapped in your brain, but you know what you want to say, but the words won't come out. When you're 22, you think you're invincible, but that stroke did happen. And I had to drop out of college. I spent years of therapy relearning to how to speak, spell, and rewire my brain. Also learning my two losses, my right arm and the life that I was also living. These days felt like so undefeated. I watched my friends graduate, travel, starting their life when I'm home, just trying to remember what normal felt like. But this is what I discovered. When everything that you thought you defined is stripped away, the one left is the part of your truest part of you. And for me, it was creativity. Fast forward a few years, it was 2020, the world shut down. Everyone's life was on pause. The first time that I was not the only one to start over. In the pandemic, I taught myself graphic design, and I didn't go to college, but I went to university. I downloaded Adobe, and I stayed up until 3, 4 a.m. practicing, failing, and then trying another again. Art came my therapy, my freedom, my second chance. Out of that mix of isolation and imagination came the spark of life outside the lines. I realized that I wanted to use art for something different and bigger, to represent and tell stories that I didn't actually see growing up. I wanted to make sure that the kids like me could also say, hey, that's me on a page. So I started small, just a few digital drawings at my desk, while also listening to Audible books, and my dog was my only coworker. I became obsessed with showing my work online because it was the pandemic. People responded, parents, teachers, disability advocates, even strangers, that told me that they love seeing inclusion presented as joyful, normal, and beautiful. That's why Life Outside the Line is born. Our books features kids with mobility aids, hearing devices, service dogs, prosthetics, feeding tubes, and just kids being kids. At the beach, school, fairy tales, and an adventure, because inclusion is not heavy. And I think art reaches people way longer than words can. Our mission is simple: access is love. When we normalize inclusion, we raise a generation of kids that can see that difference is not to celebrate, but it is not to fix. All these books, I partnered with families and educators and organizations that believe that a child deserves to be the main character, not afterthought. Every time a parent sends me a photo with their child laughing and coloring a page that looks like them, I reminded myself why I fought so hard to rebuild my life after the stroke. The reality, running a business while managing a disability is not easy. Some days my body has some plans. Some days I have to rest more than work. But although I learned that success doesn't mean that you have to do things like everyone else, it means that you can do it as your way, even though it looks different. I might move slower, but I move with purpose. I built something that I wish that existed when I was that little girl in leg braces that we didn't have any representation. I wanted to say to that girl in the braces, you belong here exactly like you are. The message, Life Outside the Line, is not a brand, it's a belief. We teach children to color neatly and stay in the lines and play it safe. But the truth is, the most beautiful pictures are the ones that spill out. In creating inclusive space is vital, especially kids that feel like they're not belong. It's not about them, it is about creating a world that everyone feels like they're valued and seen. I have kids ask me, what's wrong and why are you skinny? I don't be upset, and I really show and share about what I know, because education is so important. But wouldn't it be amazing when the kids don't even know I'm in a wheelchair? If the difference was so normal that I was not even something to notice. This is like a dream that I wish that would happen. I hope that after hearing me speak, you don't walk away calling me an inspiration. Because what I've been through and I've built, what I truly hope is that what I truly hope that you are gonna leave with a true understanding that my story and my disability may seem unique, but it's a part of a greater truth. There's so much people in the world that have different challenges and abilities that still continue to rise and create and put back a good back in the world. So don't see me as a overcomer. See me as an advocate, a survivor, a creator, an artist, and an advocate. What you are facing, an obstacle or a diagnosis or a dream that feels so far away, don't wait for the permission to start again. You don't need a plan or a perfect body to make a difference. You need to have a heart and a courage to take the steps of your true vision. For me, it was creating digital art. For you, it might turn completely different, but with a greater story and a masterpiece, it only became a line that dares to be somewhere new. Thank you so much for listening and letting me share my story. My story began with struggle, but it actually found my purpose with coloring, creative advocacy, and passion.